The first question is, what is the best way to help somebody that is dealing with any kind of addiction?
Okay, first you should suggest that they seek professional help. Any kind of addiction, if it's drugs or or any form of substance abuse, they should encourage them to perhaps look into a treatment facility. There are quite a few of them. They're free of charge. A lot of them are, and the state pays for it. So you should encourage them to do that. I would suggest that you pray for them, ask God to help them, give them the strength, the knowledge, the intuitiveness to to seek help. Most people that have addictions, whether it's medical or psychological, they seem to be trapped within themselves, and they need a little bit of help. They need someone to nudge them just a bit, and just point them in the right direction. Understand God answers all prayers, and addiction is part of the darkness that's all around us. It's addiction that occurs when your mind is open to other things, and your defenses are down, and the darkness can creep in. Oh, there are so many alcoholics who are now in Skid Row who have their own story as to how they got there. But it always seems that some tragedy has happened in their life, and as a result, they are there and they have that situation. Understand that it's extremely important that you be supportive, not judgmental, but supportive, and pray with them and let them know that there are services available for them. Dr. Joshua works in a very similar facility, and it'll be interesting to hear what he has to say. Dr. Joshua.
Well, there's the first thing we have to do is, of course, a lot of people that I deal with are court appointed. So the court decides that they need treatment, and then they're signed over to a treatment facility. But the hard part's not necessarily detaching from the addiction to the drugs, because when you come into a facility, whether it be residential, whether it be partial hospitalization, or innovative outpatient facilities, there are classes that are geared toward helping you, see patterns, see cycles, to be able to work on self-forgiveness, self-resentment, self-anger, building positive self-worth, self-value, building a positive self-identity. And those are a lot of things that people don't have when they're in addiction. Addiction, 80% of people that's in active addiction had some form of abandonment or neglect as children. And that's a high number. 8 out of every 10 addicts did not have a good home life when they were growing up. And maybe there were people that raised them, that loved them, maybe an aunt, maybe an uncle, maybe grandparents, but that does not take the place of a mom or dad's love, especially in cases where you see a parent who has neglected a child, who has remarried and had children with another person, and that person, that parent, be a loving, caring parent to that other individual. That leaves a lot of hurt, a lot of harm psychologically, emotionally, spiritually in the lives of that person that feels abandoned or neglected. Now, I've always said that nothing changes if nothing changes, and people will not change until they're tired of being where they're at. It's not necessarily even something supernatural. It's something psychological that happens. It's easy to get people off drugs, but it's harder to get people connected to a support group. And Johan Hari said, the opposite of addiction is not sobriety. The opposite of addiction is connection. So finding a group of people who've gone through the same things that you've gone through, who have the same traumas possibly, the same past, the same hurts, regardless of what type of trauma it is, regardless of what kind of chemical or biological deficiency they may or may not have. I work in a place where it's dual diagnosis, so it's not just dealing with addiction, but it's dealing with mental health issues as well. And being able to help people to find themselves, to rediscover themselves, to rediscover the person that they were created to be, to rediscover their purpose, and to learn to discipline themselves, and to learn to adapt new coping skills that'll take the place of drugs and alcohol. Because let's face it, that's the way people suppress their feelings. That's the way they didn't deal with their trauma. And, people don't just wake up and say, well, I think I'm going to be an addict today. That's not real. People don't wake up and decide they want to be an addict. People are hurt, people are busted, people are destroyed, their lives are in ruin, and they try to find some point of comfort, some peace of mind, and they can't find it, so they go to drugs and alcohol. Somebody says, here, take this, or here, smoke this, or here, shoot this. And it makes them feel, like they're invincible, like they can't be touched by their problems or their issues. So the first thing we've got to do is, number one, we got to get them to see they have a problem. If they don't see that they have a problem, they won't ask for help. A lot of people that are in addiction are in pre-contemplation. Contemplation means they can see, yeah, I do have a problem, but I'm okay right now where I'm at. But if we can get people to the action state of change, we can get them to change the way they think, the way they feel, the way they respond, the way they react, and be able to educate them about not only the dangers of addiction, but the dangers of not being connected to a group of people who have similar backgrounds, and finding strength and comfort in a group of people that will support you, that will hold you up, that will hold you accountable, that won't co-sign your bad behavior, that won't validate your bad behavior. Because when you validate an addict's bad behavior, you sign their death certificate. And I'm very passionate about this. It's amazing that this was the first question we had, because I'm very passionate. I'm in the trenches every day helping people dig their way out of the mess they get themselves in their life. And, I am so much a better pastor, a better friend, a better dad, a better husband because of the people that God's allowed me to work with. Tremendous people, the greatest people I've ever known, the greatest people I've ever met. And I'm very passionate about them. I tell them there's two things that I hate. There's two words I hate. I hate the word junkie, and I hate the word rehab. God doesn't make junk. He don't make plastic people to throw away. And the word rehab just makes me upset too. A rehab's where you go to take medicine and sit and drool out of a window for 8 hours a day. I believe in recovery. And I thank God that He gives me the opportunity every day to see somebody's life changed through His Spirit, through His love, and through them changing the way they see themselves, realizing they have purpose, and living their destiny.
Thank you. Very good. Very good. Dr. Glenn, give us your 2 cents.
Before I begin, I would say, amen, brother, preach it. That's great. Yeah, I would like to not repeat what the bishop said, but I would like to say in terms of the treatment phase, and although my training goes back to the 1960s, I was privileged to train under Dr. Vernell Fox, who was the guru of the time in terms of addiction. And she was the one who laid the groundwork to see those difficulties from 3 different lenses. One was physical, one was psychological, and then one was spiritual. So on the staff there at the Georgia Mental Health Institute, we had chaplains, we had medical people, we had social workers, we had psychiatrists. So that all the bases were covered. And the treatment was integrated. It wasn't so much as you specialized in one thing and then another, then a third, but rather that we worked together as a team in order to help the person in all 3 areas of their struggle and their life. And it doesn't come easy for the staff. It doesn't come easy for those who are in addiction. It's hard for them. But I would say the vast majority of persons who stuck with the program, who stuck with the treatment, they were resident, by the way. This was not people who came in. They lived there. That a significant number of them broke that cycle. But there were always those who went on and they died as a result of the addiction that they had. So that it's not treatment is not focusing on one aspect of the problem, but all 3 areas of the problem have to be dealt with simultaneously. It wasn't steps, you do with this and that and the other thing, but simultaneously all those dynamics must be worked together. And I found it, the time I was there, highly effective, and I would want to convey that to give hope to people who have that kind of problem, that treatment, help is available, and it's effective.
Very good. Very good, very good.